Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 125, so let's get to it. In episode 125, Cynthia and Ash continue their battle, which began in episode 123 and continued into episode 124. This third and final part of the battle begins with Ash Mega Evolving Lucario in response to Dynamax Togekiss. Lucario then uses Aura Sphere, while Togekiss uses Max Airstream. Like a fearless badass, Lucario jumps into the Max Airstream and it rushes towards Togekiss. However, once Lucario gets close, Togekiss ups the intensity of the Max Airstream. While Lucario is still able to fire off the Aura Sphere, it ends up being blasted out of the Max Airstream. Togekiss then uses its wings to easily dissipate the Max Airstream alongside the Aura Sphere. Because of the Max Airstream, Togekiss gets a speed boost. Lucario then uses Bullet Punch, while Togekiss uses Max Airstream again. Lucario manages to leap over both the Max Airstream and the Togekiss, which allows Lucario to end up behind the Togekiss. Lucario then pummels Togekiss with Bullet Punch. The barrage of super effective punches is so powerful that Togekiss ends up firing the Max Airstream towards the sky, and it soon ends up being unable to keep up the Max Airstream. Togekiss then falls to the ground in pain. However, like before, Togekiss is able to get back up without issues, showing that it is quite tough, especially considering all the super effective hits it has taken thus far. After getting back up, Togekiss gets another speed boost courtesy of the second Max Airstream. Lucario then begins to charge its Kamehameha, its Aura, but Togekiss uses Max Airstream yet again, and Lucario takes a direct hit, since it cannot move because it is focused on building up its aura. While Lucario is taking some serious damage, Ash says that they are not done yet, and so Lucario stands strong. It endures the Max Airstream like a champ while continuing to charge its aura. Eventually, Ash and Lucario link their auras, which allows them to battle together as one. The two of them manage to convert the power of their auras into a massive aura sphere that begins to push back the Max Airstream. While Togekiss tries its best to push the giant aura sphere back, Ash and Lucario refuse to back down. They increase the power of their auras and they feed even more power into the aura sphere. Ash and Lucario's combined aura is so powerful that Greninja can sense it despite being so far away. I do wanted to mention here that it is of course great to see Greninja again, even if it is for just a brief moment. It is also worth noting that Greninja was also able to sense Ash and Lucario's combined aura back in episode 109. Which is the first episode in which Ash and Lucario used G-Max Aura Sphere. So after pushing their auras to the very limit, Ash and Lucario scream G-Max Aura Sphere in unison. The G-Max Aura Sphere ends up overcoming the Max Airstream and Togekiss takes a direct hit, which causes it to fall to the ground. It also reverts back to normal at the same time, though this is because it used 3 max moves and not because of the damage it took. I have to say that seeing Ash and Lucario use G-Max Aura Sphere is my favorite part of this first half of the episode. In fact, it is the only thing I love from this first half of the episode. I really do love seeing Ash and Lucario link their auras and seeing them use all their power in order to create such a powerful move. And all of this was just enhanced by the surprise Greninja cameo. Also, this scene in particular is simply awesome and very cool. So Cynthia is shocked after witnessing the G-Max Aura Sphere and its massive power. Meanwhile, Ash and Lucario are so exhausted after pushing themselves so much that they both fall to one knee in unison. However, somehow, Togekiss manages to get back up, which is just crazy and honestly unbelievable. I get that Togekiss has a double resistance to fighting type moves, and that Dynamax doubles a Pokemon's HP. But come on, after taking so many bullet punches, which are super effective on Togekiss, how in the world is Togekiss able to also take a G-Max Aura Sphere to the face? This just seems like too much. Togekiss is way too resilient. Even Go says that he cannot believe that Togekiss withstood that Aura Sphere and from Mega Lucario no less. So just before getting back up, Togekiss got yet another speed boost courtesy of its third Max Airstream. Cynthia tells Togekiss that they should heat things up even more. Cynthia then says that she is having fun. It is nice to see that she is enjoying the battle. Togekiss then rapidly darts around the battlefield. Lucario tries to use Bullet Punch, but Togekiss is way too fast and Lucario cannot land a hit. Togekiss is of course taking advantage of the 3 speed boosts it got. Togekiss then uses Sky Attack, but Lucario uses Double Team to avoid the Sky Attack. However, Togekiss comes back around while still using Sky Attack. Lucario tries to counter with Aura Sphere alongside its clones, but Togekiss is too fast, which allows it to easily dissipate all the clones, their Aura Spheres, and the real Lucario's Aura Sphere. Togekiss then comes back around with Sky Attack once more. However, this time, Lucario intercepts Togekiss with a barrage of bullet punches. Togekiss still endures and it clashes with one final bullet punch head on. But Lucario is able to overpower Togekiss, delivering a solid bullet punch that finally puts an end to Togekiss. Now, while Lucario was able to defeat Togekiss, it did take a lot of damage in the process, and thus, Lucario does not have that much fight left in it. So, Cynthia gets ready to send out her final Pokemon, which is of course Garchomp. Cynthia says that she is glad that she gets to battle with Garchomp again. I do find this to be a little odd, since Cynthia has already used the Garchomp twice in this battle, and she did not say this on either of those occasions. But I guess that since it is time for the final showdown of this battle and Cynthia plans to retire from battling, this might very well be the last time she gets to battle with Garchomp. Hence why Cynthia says this now. After sharing her feelings, Cynthia sends out Garchomp. It is worth noting that like Lucario, Garchomp is also quite hurt, and this is of course due to her battle with Sirfetch'd. Meanwhile, Ash contemplates that he is one win away from defeating Cynthia. Ash then says to Lucario that this will be the final showdown in this battle, and that they should do their best to the very end. Lucario exclaims in agreement. Inspired by this caring exchange between trainer and Pokemon, Cynthia decides to talk to Garchomp. Cynthia says that Ash reminds her of when she and Garchomp traveled together. This leads to a flashback of Cynthia's past. Cynthia says that back then, everything felt brand new to them, and they were awed by the expanse of the world and its many legends, which all ran deep. That they were challengers that were constantly challenging themselves. The flashback shows little Cynthia and Gible taking shelter from the rain in a cave. I love that they both cuddle together here, which is so heartwarming and sweet. The two of them are then seen walking in a field of grass. The two of them are then seen fishing. I love that Cynthia almost falls when she snacks a Feebas and Gible has to catch Cynthia. This is both funny and adorable. Also, I assume that this Feebas is who eventually becomes the Milotic Cynthia has now. The flashback then shows when Gible evolved into Gavite, which delighted Cynthia so much that she embraced Gavite, which is just so wholesome. We then see Cynthia when she was no longer little Cynthia. Here she is instead a couple of years older, though she is still slightly younger than what she is currently. I also wanted to point out that at this point, Cynthia's hair did not cover her left eye, meaning that she did not have her iconic look yet. So, here we see the moment when Cynthia became interested in the legends of the Sinnoh region. We also see that by this point, Gavite had already evolved into Garchomp. The final scene in the flashback shows Cynthia and Garchomp battling in a stadium. My guess is that this is the Sinnoh League, and that Cynthia ended up being the winner here, which gave her the right to challenge the Elite Four and the champion. Upon defeating them, Cynthia became the champion of Sinnoh, which she is to this day. So this part of the flashback might be showing Cynthia shortly before she became champion. This is very cool. Also, it is worth mentioning that Cynthia and Garchomp are facing a Rhyperior here. I wonder if they are facing Palmer. It's possible, and it would be awesome if they are. Now I have to say that I am very glad that we get to learn even more about Cynthia's past. I absolutely loved the flashback and backstory we got in episode 122, and I love that we got even more here in episode 125. I said it before and I will say it again. I would love to get a series focused entirely on Cynthia, because she is just such an amazing and fascinating character. So when the flashback ends, Cynthia says that those days were really something special. She then gets serious and she says that she and Garchomp will be the ones who face Leon. The final showdown then begins with Garchomp using Scale Shot. I love that epic music begins playing here. This is essentially boss music that is meant to show that Garchomp and Cynthia are extremely fearsome opponents. Lucario leaps towards Garchomp and it uses Bullet Punch to punch through the scales. After closing the gap, Lucario uses Aura Sphere, but Garchomp counters with another Scale Shot. Both moves clash, which causes an explosion that pushes both Pokemon back. I love that Garchomp roars here, showing that she really is unrelenting. Cynthia exclaims that she has longed for a Pokemon battle like this. I have to say that it is really cool to see Cynthia get so excited about something. Though I once again wondered why she wants to retire from battling when she clearly enjoys battles so much. Ash says that Cynthia does not let her guard down even for a moment, that she makes every move and movement purposeful, but that if he can defeat her, then he will be able to get even stronger. Lucario then uses Bullet Punch, while Garchomp uses Dragon Claw. The two of them get close and they proceed to claw and punch the life out of each other in a very intense and explosive brawl. This is by far my favorite part of this entire battle and easily the best single showdown in the Masters Tournament. Garchomp and Lucario just refuse to back down. Instead, they just keep clawing and punching each other mercilessly. You can feel the impact of each and every hit due to the sound they make and due to the damage we see them do. Throw in a few close-ups here and there and you get what is just a jaw-dropping showdown. I also love how the music crescendos as the fighting goes on, culminating in both Pokemon roaring, while Ash and Cynthia scream, telling their Pokemon to push forward, which leads to the final epic clash of this brawl. So yeah, this right here is what a battle like this should be. This is the level of intensity that I love to see in a battle like this. This made me exclaim like Cynthia that this is the Pokemon battle that I have been waiting for. In this tournament, that is. But yeah, I absolutely love this part of the battle. So much so, in fact, that I had to rewind it several times, because I just could not get enough of it. So the extreme brawl ends with both Pokemon clashing twice head-on, hit for hit. They then both manage to land a powerful strike that dissipates their moves, which is a cool effect. The two of them then stand there frozen in place due to all the damage they took, though they both managed to jump back after a while. However, they are both at their limit. They clearly cannot take much more. After staring each other down, while clearly doing their best to remain standing, Lucario falls to one knee. Seizing the opportunity, Garchomp charges towards Lucario with Dragon Claw. Lucario counters with Reversal, which allows it to convert all the damage it has taken into power. Lucario manages to hit Garchomp in the abdomen, while Garchomp manages to hit Lucario in the back. Both of them then fall to the ground together dramatically. So we get the classic moment where we are left in suspense as to who won after two Pokemon have one final clash. However, I love that instead of having both Pokemon remain standing until one of them falls, they decided to subvert the classic trope by having both Pokemon fall together, and the winner is whoever manages to stand up. I appreciate that they decided to do something different, and in this instance, the alternative is more fitting, because after all the damage these two have taken, it makes sense that one final powerful clash would leave them both pretty much done for, and only the one that manages to stand back up after enduring so much can claim victory. So the episode is basically completely silent for a good while as everyone watches in suspense, waiting to see who won. Eventually, Lucario manages to stand back up. Garchomp is not able to do the same. And so, Lucario is the winner, meaning that Ash is the winner of the battle. He managed to defeat Cynthia. Ash is left in shock. He cannot believe that he won. But when he sees Pikachu jumping out of joy, Ash finally realizes that yes, he won. He then embraces Lucario, exclaiming that they won, that they defeated Cynthia. I wanted to mention here that Ash is the first trainer to defeat Cynthia on screen, and Lucario is the first Pokemon to defeat Cynthia's Garchomp on screen. So props to Ash and Lucario. They both just made history. So Cynthia says that Garchomp battled marvelously, and she thanks Garchomp. Lucario then helps Garchomp stand up, showing amazing sportsmanship, which is cool. Ash then thanks Cynthia for the battle while shaking her hand. Cynthia says that she is the one that should be saying thank you, because Ash made her realize that she still has much to learn. She then thanks Ash and she says that they should battle again someday. At this point I thought, wait, let's battle again someday? Does this mean that Cynthia won't retire after all? Also, having Cynthia tell you that you helped her realize that she still has a lot to learn just has to be one of the biggest compliments you can get as a trainer. The screen of the stadium then shows the scoreboard for Ash versus Leon. This sent chills down my spine because I realized here that this is it. After so many episodes and battles, we will soon get to the climactic final showdown at long last. Hopefully, it will live up to the hype. So Cynthia makes her way back to the locker room and she encounters Diantha on the way. Cynthia says that she takes back what she said about retiring from battling, because she could never quit something so passionate and fun. She then says that she has plenty to master when it comes to battling and research. Diantha says that she knew that Cynthia wouldn't retire, and she praises Cynthia's newly found motivation. Now I also knew that Cynthia would not retire. I even said as much in my video predicting who might replace Cynthia as champion if she does retire. So I am not really surprised that she went back on her decision, especially since it was obvious throughout her battle with Ash that she loves battles way too much. I do have to wonder, however, what was even the point of this whole Cynthia plans to retire plot point? Because Cynthia never revealed why she wanted to retire, so there was no room for us to analyze her reasoning to determine if her decision was right or wrong. we also did not get any meaningful character moments. We did not get to see most of the characters react or question Cynthia's decision, because only Diantha knows about it, and she did not question it at all, and her reaction was very mild. Even when she thought about Cynthia's retirement during the battle, Diantha did not provide any meaningful thoughts or analysis. There was also no impact on the battle at all, no sense of urgency or personal stakes. Instead, it was business as usual for Cynthia. Pretty much the only thing that happened as a result of Cynthia's decision was her nostalgia trip with Garchomp, which is something that could have happened without Cynthia having the intention to retire. In fact, her nostalgia originated mostly because of Ash. The fact that this might have been her final battle was only partially to blame. So yeah, I think that Cynthia's plan to retire had no bearing whatsoever on the battle or the episodes. Therefore, it was a useless plot point, especially since she did not actually retire. My guess is that the writers wanted us, the fans, to feel more invested in the battle because it was going to be Cynthia's last battle. If this was their intention, then they succeeded, though only initially, since the battle itself quickly made it clear that Cynthia's decision was only window dressing and nothing else. I also wonder if perhaps they simply did not have the guts to follow through with their intent to have Cynthia retire, since this is definitely something that no one wants to see. So the episode cuts to the outside of the stadium, where Ash sends out his Pokemon and he thanks them for what they did in the battle. The episode ends with Ash saying that they finally got to Leon, and that since they made it this far, they now have to win. The Pokemon all cheer in agreement. Now that's the battle and the episode. But before I get to my overall thoughts, I do want to highlight a few other moments that I loved and a few things that I hated. First, I love that Doria and Vic are seen briefly in the audience. It's cool that they watched the battle, which was to be expected, but it's nice to see it. Second, I love that Team Rocket were once again cheering for Ash throughout the episode, and they even cried when Ash won. But what I love the most about them in this episode is that they call Ash the Champion Killer, because he defeated the champions of Hoenn and Sinnoh. Third, I love that Cinderace was energetically cheering for Lucario the entire episode. This is something that I loved in the previous episode as well. I especially love that after the battle, Cinderace is like, "Look at you, making it to the finals like a total pro." The final thing I love is that Professor Oak was so happy because Ash won that he cried while being embraced by Charizard and Noivern. I also love that the other Pokemon, Ash's mother and Tracy, were all happily celebrating. As for what I hate about this episode, well, we got a recap of what happened in the previous 2 episodes. This recap lasted a minute and 20 seconds. Also, the previous episode ended with Ash about to Mega Evolve Lucario, and yet it takes almost 50 seconds in this episode to get back to this point. There is also a flashback of Cynthia telling Diantha that she plans to retire. Finally, when Ash Mega Evolves Lucario, the episode cuts to the opening, and when the episode resumes, they show Ash Mega Evolving Lucario again, which amounts to a little over 30 seconds. All of this of course means that they wasted way too much time. They basically padded the heck out of this episode, which is just awful and lazy. Just to exemplify how bad this is, the battle finally resumes a little over 5 minutes into the episode. There is just no excuse for this, and I absolutely hate it. So overall, I think that this episode was awesome. I do think that it is a little uneven because the first half is not as good as the second half, and all the unnecessary filler and recap certainly did not help. But all in all, it was a magnificent episode and an amazing finale to Cynthia vs Ash. Mega Lucario vs Dynamax Togekiss was the weakest part of the episode because it just felt unoriginal. Since it's the third time we see Lucario battle a Dynamaxed/Gigantamaxed Pokemon. At this point, Lucario should be nicknamed Giant Slayer. I also feel that this battle was boring because Togekiss just used Max Airstream 3 times. I get that speed boosts are good and this is what Cynthia was going for, but I would have loved to see Togekiss use 3 different max moves, with Lucario having to deal with each one in a distinct way. This would have really spiced up the battle. I am also still bitter because we got Dynamax Togekiss instead of Mega Garchomp. I do however love how Ash and Lucario combined their auras in order to use G-Max Aura Sphere, which allowed them to overpower Togekiss. I also love that Greninja was once again able to feel Ash and Lucario's aura even though Greninja is so far away. This allowed us to see Greninja again, which is awesome. Now Mega Lucario vs Garchomp on the other hand was simply outstanding. Man, what a battle. I do feel that it was a little too short, but I understand that Lucario and Garchomp were both so hurt that the battle couldn't have gone on much longer. Still, despite its short duration, it was without a doubt a very intense, pulse-pounding battle that gave me chills. When the two of them were just clawing and punching the life out of each other, you could just feel every hit. The impact of each attack was palpable. This impressive clash was just jaw-dropping. I also love the final exchange of attacks that made both Pokemon fall. This was not only awe-inspiring, but it was also a great subversion of the classic trope where both Pokemon remain standing after the final clash until one of them falls. I also love that we got to see more of Cynthia's past, including more of the absolutely adorable little Cynthia. I really, seriously need an anime focused on her journey when she was younger, because this would for sure be amazing and I just want to know more about Cynthia's past. I also love that Cynthia decided not to retire from battling after experiencing such a heated battle. Though again, I do feel that the fact that she wanted to retire in the first place was pointless. So yeah, overall, while this episode was definitely far from perfect, it was still an awesome episode and an amazing enough finale to such a historic battle. But that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching and let's meet again in the next video.